Welcome back to the PainExam Podcast. Today, I have the privilege of being joined by my good friend and social media superstar physician, Donna Corriel, who is the founder of SoMeDocs, the Facebook group, and so much more. And I've been trying to get Donna on the show for a while, and our schedules never matched up until today. So first of all, before we get into all that, I wanted to remind you guys about the ultrasound courses coming up. Just go to the painexam.com events page. We have courses in New York, Israel, Costa Rica, as well as our live board review course, the webinar that is now available on the website. So just check it out at painexam.com. Donna, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to finally make it on your show. I wish I had my voice completely, so your audience should hopefully excuse me for the tail end of a laryngitis.
Oh, I was hoping there's a good story behind how you lost it, but I guess we'll leave that for another time.
Well, I was in Spain. That's exciting.
That's
I
a good
won't go
reason.
into the details. Right.
So Donna, she started this group called SoMeDocs, which most of you probably seen and know. She has over 40,000 followers on social media. So she's out there, and she's really a leader in the field of physician entrepreneurship and branding yourself. And she has a lot to say about it and teach as well. So Don, I guess, how did this all start? Like what prompted you to create this group, and how did you make the decision to leave medicine and dedicate your time fully to this project?
Well, the succinct version of it is basically that I was a practicing internist. I felt firsthand that healthcare was broken and for so many reasons. I knew that I wanted to tackle solving that in some way, in the small way that I could. But I realized I was also just one person. I knew that I could not be the only person feeling this way. And I was right, because through Facebook and social media, we connect so rapidly and so seamlessly, and we connect with others who are burning out just like us. So I decided to put into action my desire to solve some of the breaks in healthcare by building a community for physicians. It started out as a Facebook group. And then I realized very, very quickly that a Facebook group in and of itself is not enough. It's a place where we can connect, but it's not action. So I built a website and a platform over the years. I've learned to digitally build, to strategize through growth, and to really use social media to market a business. And I grew SoMeDocs, which has now become a company that's rapidly growing. And I take particular interest in entrepreneurship. And I believe that when physicians really embrace entrepreneurship, we can take back medicine and really bring back the beauty of that patient-physician relationship.
So I mean, I've been to your website. I have a profile on your site. You hit it from multiple angles. Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah, definitely. I know I knew that in pursuing my vision that I was tackling many angles at once. And I don't know that it was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, but you know, SoMeDocs is there at the end of the day for the health expert, for the physician. We are going to expand in the future to dentists and nutritionists and such as well, because there's more experts than just physicians out there in healthcare. But we are doing that one step at a time. The physicians were our main clients in terms of helping them to understand the social media landscape and to bring them together to really network, because on social media, you really do need numbers. So networking really helps with getting the word out on our brands once we actually birth them, define them. But the website puts into action a lot of what we do, a lot of the brands we then build, because once we build a brand, okay, the brand exists, but then what? It's
Right.
the equivalent of opening a shop, right? You're building a brand, so you're opening like a virtual kind of like shop, even if you're not selling anything. You're opening a shop in the desert, and no one goes to the desert. So the issue becomes that all these physicians are slowly starting to understand that entrepreneurship is it. And I need to like open up my own shop or open up my own physical practice, right? But if it exists and nobody knows about it, right? If a tree falls in the woods, does it actually make a noise? If you open up a shop and nobody knows about it, is it really a shop that's worth it to to keep open? It's not.
Right.
And that's where, all the tools that I built on SoMeDocs are looking to help to do that, to bring the doctors together, to increase our numbers, to help brainstorm. And then the website showcases the physicians. So it's basically saying to the doc, hey, you built a brand, and yes, it's partly because you were part of SoMeDocs. We talked about it, we sharpened your messaging, et cetera, et cetera. But now SoMeDocs, the website, is building a space where we can categorize our doctors. Does that make sense? So the rest of the world can come to doctorsonsocialmedia.com and look for exactly the doctor that they want to follow, right? Or they can look for the podcast of a doctor that they want to listen to, or they can find a book that a physician wrote, right? Especially if it's about healthcare. Or they could be businesses that are looking for doctors that are willing to be consultants in their startups or are willing to be advisors. There really is not a place where you can find that without a paywall. And that's what Doctors on Social Media does, is that without a paywall, a business can land on our website and find exactly the partners that they need for their project without a middleman. They can connect directly with that healthcare celebrity. So that's it in a nutshell.
I mean, if I was an industry and I'm thinking about finding a KOL to talk about my product, this sounds like a great place to start.
100%. And not only that, but it's more than just a database of profiles of doctors, because we have that. At the basic profiles are David Rosenblum, the pain management doc, the anesthesiologist, et cetera. But we're more than just anesthesiologists or internists, right? We're amazing podcasters and amazing writers and amazing speakers. So a company wants more than just the profile. They want to know that the person is primed for speaking at their event, for example. So in that case, they would go directly to the speakers part of our website, and they would know that those people are willing to speak. And the company could then look at the specifics of the potential speaker and decide for themselves whether it's worth contacting them. Things like a video of them talking. They could see live a little poo-poo platter, a sample of the person speaking. They could also get their compensation. So a lot of doctors don't mind writing what they charge. And it saves our time. It doesn't waste the time of the business that, let's say, is not willing to pay them the amount they want. Or it's an amount that they can absolutely afford, and they contact them directly and hire them. So really, there's no more middleman.
Right. It's a very flexible platform. I mean, I created at least 2 profiles, one for the podcast and the other, I think it was for me as a speaker, and there's so much more I could do on your platform. It's really like amazing. And the way it's very aesthetic, the way you showcase the physician. If you're interested in doing it, you should check out her website. And we'll have the link on the show notes and everything, but it's a good way to get out there, especially if you're just trying to break out of your routine, doctor job, and you want to either do entrepreneurship or maybe just network and grow your business, your medical business. Either way, it's useful. So
yeah, there's no reason why, the same old people are getting picked for these speaking positions, or the same old people are getting quoted in news articles that are health and healthcare related, when
right.
There's so many doctors out there. And there's no question about it. Doctors are health experts. So where I'm concerned, why not make physicians the celebrities of healthcare and those people that the world should listen to where it comes to medical advice? We should.
Right.
So I'm looking to sort of build the venture that actually gives fuel to these physician celebrities. And I'm hoping to make it really unique. And so when you talk aesthetics, right, I always call it like magazine style. Our profile is not like Facebook or LinkedIn's profiles, although those are useful too. It's different because it is a lot like a magazine, our website. And in fact, We have a whole section that's categorized into topics in healthcare that does have articles that the physicians themselves are writing. And so that's another way that our website is super unique and different, in that you're going to get health and healthcare news from physicians directly. So you don't no longer have to have, and again, journalists are fabulous. They make our writing better. But we don't always need the most fantastic writing. We need the health and healthcare information directly from the expert so that we know that we're getting it from the source.
Right. So I randomly typed into Google top physician influencers, just randomly, and Donna came up in the top 10. I don't know who published it, if it was Forbes or someone else, but like I was like, damn, that's amazing. You have over 40,000 Facebook members in your group. How does one get to that number? I mean, that's a very large number for a niche. I mean, medicine in a way is still a niche. So like at what point did you say, wow, this led to that? Or was there any, or is it just consistency and drive? Like every day you post and you're just regular and you're just, methodical.
That's a great question. First of all, just quick correction. SoMeDocs has 40,000 followers across social media. So it's across social media. The Facebook groups we're actually tweaking, and I'm figuring out exactly how to work it. It's very difficult because you're up against Facebook algorithms. So it's extremely frustrating. You have thousands of doctors that come to learn and follow, and they don't see your posts. And there's no transparency as to what posts show up. And it's very hard to tell. So that's something that's very frustrating that I'm working against. So that's A. B, in terms of how to get there. Yeah, I think so. Perseverance is huge. I think that when people ask me how I got to where I got, perseverance is one of the top things that I think is important with an entrepreneurial venture, as long as obviously the entrepreneurial, like, actual substance of your business makes sense. I think flexibility is another really important reason why I'm growing. Is I am so flexible and so willing to change very quickly, change certain things. So that's part of why I built my venture myself, and I chose not to raise capital in advance and outsource, like have the website built. I decided to learn not only how to build it, but to run it myself, because this way I'm completely flexible. If I need to change something overnight or even on that instant, I just log into the back end of the platform and I make that change. And listen, part of that is talent and skills. Have a designer eye and I love aesthetics, and I'm really have perfected some of the messaging, etc. But I think that being flexible in today's digital world is key. And I think physicians actually have a really hard time with it because we're so used to like being fixed in a certain way. And we're used to like years of research that's needed to change the way that we practice.
Sure.
Yeah. So being flexible is part of growing a digital venture and succeeding.
Right. I mean, speaking as a solo entrepreneur myself, it's like, and then also having a practice where I have partners, it's like when you're in business for yourself and you just need to do that 180 change or tweak something, and you don't, for better and for worse, you don't have anyone else to really discuss it with all the time. So you could do it and it could be the best thing ever and efficient and great, but you could also make a mistake. So it's a double-edged sword, but you live and learn. And a lot of these mistakes are actually good things in the long run because you learn things along the way.
And just to piggyback on that, the solo entrepreneur thing that you said, that's exactly what I built SoMeDocs for, is that I had a vision and I wanted to build, but it was very lonely and there's nobody else really. There's no space out there. I tried using other people's spaces, but at the end of the day, it's other people's spaces. And I feel like I'm really drawn to grassroots entrepreneurial ventures because they're pure.
Right.
And they're not like an institutional thing, although again, institutions have their own, benefits, et cetera. But the institution was the source that actually pulled me down and why healthcare wasn't working, in my opinion. So it was really important for me to be individual and to really do it grassroots. But when you have individual ventures, it's very hard to get structure and to get rules and to get consistency.
Mhm.
So I struggled with that as an entrepreneur early on in the digital game, in that the landscape was, the leaders in the landscape were building things that to me were not consistent. And I did not feel welcome in sharing my entrepreneurial venture in a way that made sense for me. And that's why I built SoMeDocs, in order to build a space that has structure.
Mhm.
There's different ways of getting involved for physicians. Some of it is paid. Some of it is that we sponsor you in. So no matter who you are, and no matter how much you want to be involved, you can take part. You can either pay to become a member and do whatever you want, wherever you want on your own time. Or, for example, we had regular contributors coming in recruitment periods, where you come in and you write and you become a member and really enjoy the networking and the professional development lecture. So there's something for everyone.
Do you have an international following, or it's mainly US based doctors? Are you able to see those stats?
It's definitely international. I mean, that's the beauty of
Yeah.
having a website, right?
Yeah.
We've had articles that are written by international physicians. We actually have an Argentinian writer who's an ICU attending, who is also really frustrated with the healthcare system and is suffering, and is voicing his concerns in articles, and loves the fact that he can use SoMeDocs to amplify his messaging and actually connect with doctors from different parts of the globe. So that's the beauty of a website, right? Is that if it's public, it can be accessed by anybody in the world. I mean, I guess you could put in settings to limit it, but I don't see the need to limit it, because healthcare is healthcare, and
Right.
we're all brainstorming, how to make healthcare better, and we can learn from each other. There's things that international countries are doing better than the US, and there's things that
Yeah.
the US is doing better than international countries. So that's the whole beauty of networking.
There's, I think your platform has such incredible value to doctors in this present day, but with continuation and further development, it's going to be even more so. I just see things like myself. I do this for years, and yet social media has never been. I mean, I do posts, but it's never been the strong focus of my platform. And there's always something new to learn. And I've discovered, like we were talking the other day about some of my hacks. How can I do a full-time physician job and do all this stuff on the side? And a lot of it are the little life hacks, or I guess productivity hacks. Websites such as Zapier or Fiverr, all these things you could do to get people to, who are doing these gig jobs, or even just software as a service, and that can make your life easier in automating different processes. So many of us physicians don't learn this stuff. It's not our training, so it's stuff you have to learn by the way, but it's incredibly valuable and should probably be part of core curriculum in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, social media is huge. And, I lecture on this. I go to conferences and I lecture on this, about explaining to my colleagues, to physicians, what social media actually means beyond the social. Because we're sort of like hung up on the whole social aspect of social media, and it turns us off. I know it turned me off. I know it turns off people, my colleagues that still don't use it. And the issue is that it is so much more than just social. It is literally the way of today. Marketing is everything, first of all. Marketing is everything. And we're learning that as physicians painfully, right? Because our value means less in today's world, like presented by represented by the burnout percentages. We're burning out very fast, and a lot of that is because our value has gone down. We get less reimbursement, the systems are in control. The insurance companies get to make the decision on whether someone gets treated or not, gets a test or not. Well, how do we push back? How do we make it different? We do that through marketing, right?
Right.
Through marketing and through PR, through awareness of the world at large. by writing stories about how it really is and telling people in the world why it is the way it is, explaining that it's not the doctors that are responsible for things.
Okay, Donna, welcome back. We had a little break, and I just want to change gears for a bit and talk about the networking and more about your platform and how to utilize it, and how maybe companies can leverage. Like if I own, let's say I own an urgent care and I hired 50 ER docs, or maybe a dermatology place. I don't know if urgent care is the best example. Let's say I was a dermatologist or a pain doctor, and I had a bunch of docs working for me. How can I leverage what you have there to suit my bigger business goals?
So the nice thing about SoMeDocs is that there's different kinds of sponsorships and ways to have your company appear. But when an organization actually has physicians, it actually represents the health experts of today, then it's a win-win, because what you can do as an organization is that you can basically sponsor in your health experts as members. So you can take your, let's say, 50 physicians, and you can purchase their memberships into SoMeDocs. It would be sponsored by you, right? I mean, you can always speak to our representatives and everything about the specifics. There's discounts that are for bulk, but your physicians would then get all the perks that individual physicians get. They would show up on our website for a public audience to be able to connect with. There would be no paywall for the general audience. They would be able to learn how to use social media along with us and use the networking perks that are available to our members. So those are really cool things for businesses to be able to leverage in a sponsorship with SoMeDocs.
Right. And of course, these companies or these doctors would have backlinks to their own pages, their own profiles, their own company websites or practice websites, which is how Google the SEO for Google works, search engine optimization. When they start seeing that high traffic websites or popular websites, quality websites are leading people back to your homepage, then it boosts your search page, your web page higher up. So it's like a big spider web of I guess.
It is. It is. In fact, SEO is something that we definitely help physicians with, especially in the articles that physicians write, but also just even in a simple profile. So what we do is we link a physician's profile. We link a physician's website in their profile, but we also link the website in any article that they upload. So we optimize it, we beautify it, we publish it, we make SEO work, and then we circulate it across our social media platforms. So that really helps to increase the SEO of a physician. And so that is another enticing reason why a physician would want to submit their article. It's not just that it appears on their profile or that we publish it and send it to our followers, but it also helps with SEO. And so we call that co-marketing. We especially love when our writers share it with their audience and then tag SoMeDocs, because SoMeDocs gets that alert, gets a notification, and then shares that share with our audience. So we're co-marketing, right? I mean, we share with our audience and they share with their audience.
Which is great. And just by the way, because there's a lot of people who still are, I guess, not really up to speed with the whole internet thing and all that. Like this podcast is a free thing that I do. She's doing a lot of work. She's working like nonstop. I know her. She works her butt off on this platform, and most of what she releases is free. All you need to do is just join her Facebook group, and I guess her newsletter eventually, and you'll get updates. You'll see what's going on, and you'll network with other doctors who are like-minded and looking to become entrepreneurs or expand in some way or just develop themselves. It's almost like free coaching. And funny because Don and I have been talking, and it's a shame that not enough doctors know more about this stuff. Not only can you grow your practice or whatever side business you want, but you could save a lot of money if you understand some aspects of SEO, productivity hacks, and internet marketing, because some of it is really, compared to what we went through in training in med school, it's not rocket science. I mean, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers. And of course, there are specialists, and it does require time on some level, which at that point, I definitely recommend hiring someone. But there's a lot you could do yourself to save yourself hundreds of or thousands of dollars. And I think Donna has a lot to teach on that end. And yeah, I mean, Donna, you're going to say something?
Yeah, there's a ton that we can learn, and that a ton that we can market, for ourselves individually, for our practices, for the businesses that we create, and for our intellectual property. Again, it's that concept that I teach doctors, that you are the expert in X, right? Everyone's got a niche that they're an expert in. Leverage that. Create a product, create a website, create a space where people can go to and visit virtually from anywhere in the world, and they can soak up that expertise. If you're an expert in, I don't know, some random, even some illness that's not common, there is someone that has that illness that wants to find the expert. Make it easy for them. Make a website that represents your expertise. Fill it up with content about it, about your advice, etc. Obviously, you have to be careful, and you have to make sure that legalities are tight, but make it easy to find you, and make it easy for you to be hired, and make it easy for your business to be found and be courted.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, I have patients coming, so we have to wrap it up soon, but I want to make sure that you guys all know Donna's platform. It's called SoMeDocs. Look for her there. Sign up
It's
to
on socialmedia.com.
That's right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead, say it.
SoMeDocs doesn't tell them where it is.
Oh,
They have
then say it.
So SoMeDocs is the name of it, but it's at doctorsonsocialmedia.com.
There you go. Doctors on social media. If you're not subscribed to my newsletter, please do. Don and I are working on something which we hope, no promises yet, we hope to bring you some sort of event. We're not really sure how it's going to be shaped yet. It's really in the early stages. That will be not a education for medicine, more of an education for this sort of thing that we've been talking about the whole time, productivity. And we're working on it, and just stay on our platforms so you could get updated, because as soon as we have something worthwhile, we'll mention it, and hopefully you guys will be interested, and we can meet you guys in person.
Yeah, I mean, you froze on my end, so hopefully you didn't freeze
Well,
on
then
your
maybe
end.
you could say it more eloquently.
Just to reiterate, I mean, the more I dabble in entrepreneurship, and the more, I expand and grow and succeed, the more I realize the power of networking and finding people that really are important for growth, and everybody can help you grow. So SoMeDocs does a lot of networking. We already do a monthly networking session called Speed Networking, which is super unique. And you can see that video floating around. It's different every month. You could catch it at the front of our website. But Dave and I are contemplating taking it a step further and making it like a fun weekend of networking for physicians. So stay tuned. If that comes to fruition, I think it's going to be fabulous.
That's right. A lot of fun. I want to thank you all for joining us. Donna, thank you so much. This is long overdue, and Donna's killing it. Follow her on social media. Check out the show notes. It'll have all the links. And I hope to see you guys all soon at the upcoming ultrasound courses, or possible SoMeDoc/PainExam/ whatever we're going to call it, event that may be coming soon. Take care, and God bless.
Bye-bye.